sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. A'udhu billah. What about the ladies who have unveiled themselves, worn tight clothes, or veiled themselves, but yet they are naked, with tight clothes, miniskirts, tight pants, makeup, perfume, and they go out to work. She is doing nothing but resembling the kafirah. That is an absolute resemblance of a non-Muslim lady. And yet she says, I am a Muslim. Nasrallahu al-afiyah. Nasrallahu al-afiyah. Be warned, O husbands. Be warned, O fathers. Be warned and warned and warned. You are responsible for your flock. You are responsible for your daughter, for your wife, for your sister. You have to do to the utmost of your ability to prevent your woman from mixing with other sexes. Don't say she has to learn, get a degree. How dare you allow your daughter, your wife, to go and mix in university with all the men, a male teacher, men surrounded her, and you say that I care for my daughter. She's going to get destroyed. She's going to get hurt. You are putting her corruption. Beware and beware. Speech. How many Muslims have imitated the kuffar in speech? You see Muslim brothers today, instead of saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, hey, going bro, it's going down. Going down. As soon as they meet each other, bro, it's going down. How's the day? Good, eh? Do we not? Oh, you going, dude. Or, you get this a lot from the Arabs. Now, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. That's his response. What response is this? Or they give you the handshake, the twivel, this, and then they go, this. That's their greeting. This is the imitation of the kuffar. Our greeting is Assalamu alayka ya habibi ya akhi al-aziz. Wa alayka as-salam ya akhi al-kareem. How beautiful is that? Salam alaykum ya ikhwa. What does it mean? Peace be upon you. What's this? Hey, going, bro? What's that going to do? What's that going to do? There's no meaning in this. Allahumma musta'an. Others who imitate the kuffar by their conduct, by their attitude, by their habits, tradition, celebrations. We forgot the celebrations. How can we forget celebrations? Alhamdulillah, Allah reminded me. The celebrations of the birthday parties, the celebrations of Christmas, the celebrations of Easter. Don't forget the Easter bunny. Don't forget the bag at the Easter show. MashaAllah, they take the whole family. She's full of niqab, veiled, head to toe. You cannot see nothing. And she's got her daughters there, MashaAllah, all veiled, beautifully, look at Islamically. And they're going on to the Easter show. They're going to the Easter. There's nothing wrong with the Easter, they say. There's nothing wrong with it. What's the big deal? There's nothing wrong with it. Do you know what the origin of the Easter show is? It's built on a religious concept. Kufr. Wallahi. What about Valentine's Day? What about the anniversary of marriage? What about Mother's Day? Father's Day? What about Anzac Day? Australia Day? You cannot miss the Easter issues. They're celebrations. We live in Australia, they say. We live in Australia. What about the Mardi Gras party? Wallahi, this is not a joke. This is not a joke. You know how many hijabis were witnessed, were seen, attending the Mardi Gras party? Wallahi. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah. This is filth. How can you attend the worst filth on the face of the earth? Don't you fear that Allah might put an earthquake underneath them? There's filthy, dirty people who are not worth the earth. Ya Latif, Ya Latif. A'udhu billah. And the thing I don't like saying most, but I cannot hide it, the shaving of the beard and the growing of the moustache. The shaving of the beard and the growing of the moustache. Always when I say this, the heads flop down. There is no compromise. This is another imitation that we are witnessing. A lot of Muslim men, unfortunately, is or are shaving their beautiful hair that Allah has created them with from their faces. You know each hair how much is worth reward? This one single hair. You know how much reward is in this? You know how much sin is in this when you shave? Every time you shave. The clipping of the moustache and the leaving of the beard, wallahi brothers and sisters, is a characteristic of the fitrah, the human nature. It is the guidance of our beloved Prophet ﷺ, and all the prophets had beards, all of them. All the righteous men had beards. It's a symbol of handsomeness, of dignity, of honor. It's a symbol of being different from the non-Muslims. Don't you come and say, for example, they have beards. Yes, but they do not clip their beard moustaches. They have beards. They have big beards. But they have big moustaches. That's why he said to us, contradict yourself from the non-Muslim, grow your beards and trim your moustache. How many Muslims have imitated the kuffar by building around their graves? By placing lights on their graves, whitewashing, which is decorating the graves, placing or planting a palm tree in their grave, or the even tree itself. The big trees, you've seen them, haven't you? By placing photos, flowers, inscriptions, waiting over them, by erecting huge tombstones on them, by placing statues on them. I went to the Rookwood Cemetery not long ago, and I witnessed a double dragon, little statue, like a miniature thing, on the grave. And there were many of them. You see the Christians and the Jews, especially the Christians, they place angels, like so-called angels, the image of an angel there. You find it on the Muslims' graves at the moment. This is not right. This is not right. You see the Muslims stepping, sitting on the graves. It's haram to walk over a grave. You can go next to a grave and seek mercy for that person in the grave. But you do not go sit on the grave, on his grave, or walk over that grave. It is haram. How many Muslims have made their graves as a place of worship? Meaning, they go every year, especially in Eid Day. Every single Eid, you see the Rookwood Cemetery, chock-a-block. Straight after the Eid prayer. They all gather there and they think it's the best time to worship the grave. And we know in a lot of subcontinental countries, and in Asia, and in in Africa, and in the Middle East, where there are a lot of men on the doors of the graveyards who actually direct the person that this person is a wali, he's a wali, he's a wali, he's a wali, and he gets paid for this. So when the person is informed, the visitor, that he's a wali, that person, the visitor, goes and starts circumambulating around the grave, believing that he's going to seek blessings, aid, need, or whatever from this person in the grave, because he's a wali. And this is everywhere. This is everywhere. How many Muslims have been buried in coffins, imitating the kuffar? How many Muslims have imitated the kuffar by allowing their laws, their rules, their sharia into the Islamic countries? And this is known and is very vast. Very, very vast, Ya Azad. Very vast. Those rulers of the so-called Islamic countries, as we all know, have pushed, have diverted, has strongly driven away the Sharia of the Almighty Lord and replaced it with the Sharia of the devil. The Sharia of the devil. Whether it is English, French, or the United Snakes of America. Replacing the Sharia of the Almighty Lord with the Sharia of the Khanazir. Wallahi. أفحكم الجاهلية يبغون ومن أحسن من الله حكما لقوم يوقنون. Do they then seek the judgment of ignorance? And who is better in judgment than Allah Ta'ala for those people who have firm belief? Some examples of this. I'm pretty sure you all heard of a man called Faraj Budi or Fudi. Really is Folder. Faraj Fudi. He was one of the most notorious callers to secularism in Egypt. He blatantly said, very, very explicit, I am simply against the implementation of La ilaha illallah in Egypt. We should eradicate it, he said. Obliterate it. Either right away or gradually. And then he said, my opinion, very, very sort of boastful, my opinion is very, very crystal clear. So the Jama'at al-Islamiyya, Allah yahfazhum, approached him and said, embrace Islam. Accept Islam. He only increased in hatred, enmity towards the Muslims, towards Islam, believing that the Egyptian regime will safeguard him. A couple of days later, he was assassinated. وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدِ. He was assassinated by the Muslims. وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدِ. We all know Jamal Abdul Nasir. I'm pretty sure you all know him. If you do not know him, Allahu musta'an, you're not into politics. Jamal Abdul Nasir, another hypocrite. And you know why he's a hypocrite. He was one of the leaders of the military coup in Egypt. He joined the Communist Party under the name Morris. His name is Jamal Abdul Nasir. He joined the Communist Party under the name Morris, while at the same time he was one of the high-ranking members in the Ikhwan movement under the name Zaghlul Abdul Qadir. While at the same time the shaitan was working for the CIA in order to overthrow King Farouk, so the influence of the American Khanzir law will be influenced in the region. He wrote a book called Al-Mithaq Yathakka Bara'aftu. A book called Al-Mithaq. In that book he wrote that all Muslims have equal rights. A lady is equal to a man. Then he said, this Khanzir, a'udhu billah min al-kalima, he said that the shackles